Hey, this is Anthony at Land Title. I came to bring you your Denver Metro market update for November. And so let's dive right into what happened last month. I think the one thing you can really see here is we've had a major increase in our active units on the market. We've had a major increase in the last month just in our under contracts with the interest rates starting to come down. And solds also went up quite a bit because that's what happened with all of our September under contracts closing into October. So far, fourth quarter is looking pretty good. Now, average sales price is stalled out year over year, 1.6%. This is really best case scenario, I think, with the rise in inventory the way that it has happened. You can definitely see in certain parts of the market, this being detached, that things are looking pretty stable, right? Now, if we get into the attached market, this is where things are looking a lot less than stable, right? We have good news in the detached market, bad news in the attached market, 50% more inventory than we had this time last year. It is a staggering amount of inventory. The other thing is solds are down 14% year over year. Under contracts are still a little bit lower than they were, even with the lower interest rates because of all the adversity that they've been dealing with this year. Plus, average sales price is down 4.5% Denver Metro wide. So that being said, this is very much a tale of two markets anymore. So let's kind of dive into that and what does that even look like? With the 31% increase in inventory in the detached single-family home market, the vast majority of that change is in places like Denver County, Douglas County, Arapahoe County, Jefferson, and Elbert. You have Broomfield, which is almost nearly stable, and Adams, which is not nearly as different as it was a year ago. If you get to the attached side, this is where it really changes, right? So if we look at Jefferson County, 65% increase in attached homes, Arapahoe County, 75% increase, Adams County, 55% increase. Those are our really big ones that stand out. There are places like Elbert County, though, they don't really have attached, right? So we kind of watch that. But if you look at Douglas County, only 11% increase probably because of the affordability down there. So really the tale of two markets. Now let's keep diving into this a little bit more. We released this month. This is exciting information. This is new listings coming to market. So this is kind of an overview for you, but you can see they're kind of coming to market everywhere more than they were a year ago. The appetite for selling is higher because interest rates coming down, more buyers in the market. It's going to lead to that, right? So we're going to see a little bit more of a plateau this month than we would previously see where it kind of tapers off in the fourth quarter. So more sellers, also more buyers, right? Because of that. So here we go. Look at this month's supply of inventory at 3. 3 is still less than the NAR national average, right? So when we look at national averages, when we look at what's considered a balanced market, this is still considered a buyer's market in many cases. It may not feel like that out there. It definitely doesn't feel like it in certain places, like maybe in Elbert County or Denver County. But other places like Broomfield County, only 2.4 months of inventory. So it really depends submarket to submarket. They're all shifting in the same direction, just at different paces. Now, if we look at days in MLS, 44 days in MLS active to under contract time really is pretty reasonable, right? It hasn't changed too much month over month, but it definitely is dramatically higher than it was a year ago. That is why people really feel the difference. Now, the big difference here is we're still well under the national average, right? Those national numbers right now are like 55 days. So if we're at 44 days, this is still a very hot market compared to a lot of the country. Now, if you look at the average sold price by detached single family and by price point, this is where you can really see the changes, right? The higher end of the market has done much better year over year right now than it has in years past. That normalization of the market, that 1 million to let's just say down to about 300,000, that's where you're seeing kind of that average, right? So the really high end 1 million, 2 million, 3 million more, that's where we see lots of solds taking place. The active units of inventory coming to market, though, they're not increasing at those higher price points, potentially because there are more sales. But the other part of it is the bulk of the inventory is really coming to market between 400 and million. So that's the detached market. Let's talk about attached market because the opposite is happening there. We've had a few luxury sales, but the vast majority of our sales are really diminished, including those luxury homes, right? 1 to 2 million in attached is down 50% year over year. 800 to a million, 41%. So with those kind of drops in those numbers, the higher end market is really struggling. Everybody in the lower end of the market is being forced there because of an affordability issue. So once you get down to about 400,000 or less, you're really seeing the market similar to this time last year, but in huge, excessive amount more inventory, right? 82% more inventory from 3 to 399. 2 to 299 has 130% more inventory. Now, Let's talk about days in MLS because this makes a big difference, or that the month supply of inventory, right? Now, when we're in detached, the reason that it feels like it does, if you're 300 to a million or 300 to maybe 800,000, that's where you're really feeling that buyer's market still. Now, the luxury market has had a lot of inventory, but we're still close to 10 months at 3+ million. We're still in a balanced market from 2 to 3 million. That's that 6 months of inventory or so. Now, if we look over at days in MLS, everything kind of tracks the same. Where we have more inventory, it takes longer to get stuff sold, but really somewhere in that 40-day range is really what you're feeling through most of the market, except the luxury market. If you look at the attached market across the board, 4 months of inventory or more in most cases. So that being said, it's a much more difficult market to get stuff sold in the attached market. That's why you're feeling that pressure of downward pricing, right? Now, if we look at the average days in MLS, those are all still around that 30, 40 range, right? Some of them maybe into the 50s, which really means that pricing is key. There are buyers out there to buy stuff. There's just prices are being chased down. So that's something to really kind of look at here. Now, let's look at the average sold price. This will give you a lot more of that picture of that 1.6% year over year. That number being said, things are really stable in the metro markets where some of the rest of the country is not really feeling that. You can feel really what's happening here. But in a lot of cases, these year over year numbers are really flat across the board. Douglas County, Elbert County saw a little bit of a tick down this last month, but Broomfield County also saw a 16% increase. And that doesn't mean that they saw 16% more expensive homes this year. Just in the last month, they've had a little bit more expensive homes sell than maybe the previous year. The Arapahoe County market, same thing, 8% increase in sales price. So take it with a little bit of a grain of salt. Sometimes you want to look at these numbers over a period of time. The attached market, here's what you're feeling. So $20,000 drop on average from a $450,000, well, basically $480 last year to $450 this year. Now, that being said, we've really started to see some of that balancing out and just a slight trickle down. This will come back, but it's going to take time. It's going to have to take changes in the insurance markets. It's going to have to take time with, some of the other stuff going on with HOAs. It'll all balance out, but I do give this one a little bit of time. I don't think this is going to happen overnight. Now, if you look at sold units, you can see here, this is awesome to see, right? You're seeing that plateauing market in the fourth quarter. This is something that we don't always see, right? This is very abnormal behavior. A traditional sales cycle, if interest rates were all about the same, would look a lot like what we saw last year if they're high, right? Little buyer behavior, little seller behavior, but everybody with necessity sells and buys, and the fourth quarter is a little bit slower. Other than that, that January, February market is also still kind of feeling that. Now we're going to plateau all the way through that October, November, December timeframes with our solds. And you can really see it in the sales markets. Year to date, we're up 5% in sales, and we picked up most of that in the last 2 months. So it's pretty cool to see that. It's nice to see that there's light at the end of the tunnel and you can see things changing in the real estate market. In the sold units, in the attached market, on the other hand, exactly the opposite. Things have really flattened out. As you can see, there's less of a seasonality in this market due to, families not necessarily wanting to live as much in attached housing. And you can really just see year to date down 16%. There's a lot of struggles in this marketplace. So definitely bug me if you have questions or need anything on that one. Listed sale price, 98.7%. Very similar to these ups and downs we see, year over year. Pretty similar to this time last year. You can see year over year, we're down just like 0.2%. So very similar to a fall market last year. We were trending down a little bit faster as, we kind of peaked our market early this year. But now that interest rates are starting to fall a little bit and people are more excited and now the election's over, you should see some of that buyer behavior continue, which is really exciting. The listed sale price in the attached market, 99%. So how are we chasing prices down if we're getting that? Well, this doesn't take into account concessions or price drops, right? So keep that in mind. A lot of that's being factored into this as well. Don't forget, if you need any other local insights, other market data, please reach out to me. I'm Anthony at Land Title. Hope to catch you on the next one. Bye.